One of the questions I get asked pretty often from people who are wanting to move to the Tyler area is, should I move to the city limits inside Tyler or should I move to the suburbs? Now, I will say Tyler is very unlike other big cities, and that actually affects whether you should be living in the suburbs or whether you should be living in the city of Tyler. So if you've ever thought that question, if you've ever had that question, stick around and I'll let you know my thoughts right now. Howdy everyone and welcome back to the channel. For everyone new here, my name is Ronnie Withers, and if you want to know what it's like to live, eat, sleep, work and play in Tyler, Texas and the surrounding areas, then go ahead and smash that subscribe button and go ahead and tap that notification bell so you are the first to be notified on any Tyler, Texas market updates. My team and I are getting calls every single day of people just like you who are looking to either relocate to Tyler, move within Tyler, or sell their Tyler home. So if that sounds like you, please go ahead and reach out. Give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email. We will get together, we'll get on a call, and we will get you into your dream Tyler home. So the great city of Tyler, Texas is very unique in the aspect of it's a lot smaller than a lot of the big cities around the country, whether you're moving from Dallas, Austin, somewhere else, not in the great country of Texas. Then you're going to be used to having a big city with 500,000, million to 3 million people. And then the suburbs are going to be close-ish to the big city. And then those suburbs are going to have a couple 100,000 people in them. Tyler is very different to that because Tyler only has around 110, 115,000 people itself. So Tyler would be considered a suburb if it was right next to Dallas or right next to Austin or something like that. So because Tyler's so small, the suburbs, and I call them suburbs, I know a lot of people have an issue with me calling them suburbs, that they're not big enough to be called suburbs. But for today's video, we're going to be looking at Tyler as the city and the tiny little towns, cities, suburbs that I like to call them as suburbs. You have Tyler, and then you have within about a 30-minute radius of Tyler, you have a lot of the little towns that I've already mentioned in previous videos, just like this one, my top favorite suburbs of Tyler. So you're gonna have places like Bullard, Lindale, Flint, White House, Chandler, and those honestly can be a really, really good option to pick as a place to live, but also so can Tyler. So in today's video, I'm going to go over some of the points why you'd choose to move to Tyler rather than the suburbs and why you'd move to the suburbs rather than Tyler. So first, I'm going to be going over the reasons why Tyler might be a better fit for you. So the first one is that it is central. It's a little bit self-explanatory, but say you've got Tyler here and then you've got all the suburbs dotted around it. It's going to be more central to be living in Tyler. So whether you are going to be choosing which suburb to go to, whether you've got friends in Lindale and you've also got friends in Bullard, then maybe it would be best for you to live in Tyler because it's more central. It's a 20-minute drive to Lindale and a 20-minute drive to Bullard rather than, say, living in Lindale and having to drive 45 minutes to Bullard to see those friends or family all the time. So Tyler is more central, especially if you need to be going into Tyler more often, whether it be to shop, whether it be to go to church, whether it be to go to a park you like. There's more of those things in Tyler. So if you go to them often, it may be a better idea to live in the city limits or within the Tyler area code. The next thing is that Tyler has more older and historic homes than the suburbs do. So Tyler has the historic districts. So you've got the Azalea districts, you've got brick streets, things like that, with the homes that were built in the late 1800s, the early 1900s, and the historic districts that are not going to change, where the older homes, there's rules in place to keep them nice and historic. If you are the type of person who wants a home like that, you love the historic home, you think you're really cute, they're cottages, they've got azaleas all around them, then definitely Tyler is the best pick for you. Suburbs are more newer, the homes, because they're expanding, and it was Tyler and then Tyler's kind of grown into the suburbs. There's less of the old homes in all of the suburbs. So if you like the cute old cottages, historic homes, then live in Tyler because that's where you're going to find the historic districts and just all the history. The older things are going to be in Tyler. Now, if you're the type of person who likes to play golf, likes that country club living where you get the pool, where you get the gym, and just kind of that luxury style, then Tyler's going to be the place for you because we have the Cascades Country Club and we have Holly Tree Country Club as well. So if you're the type of person that likes to go to those places regularly and have a membership, then live in Tyler because from my knowledge, there isn't anything like that in any of the suburbs. So if you're a golfer, country clubber, live in Tyler. Because Tyler is a lot bigger than the suburbs range from a couple thousand people in like Bullard to around 6,000 people in Lindale. So they're all very small. So Tyler, 115,000 people. It's going to have a lot more options when it comes to stores and things to do, things like that. So Tyler, just for example, Tyler has Walmarts, it has Brookshire's, it has Aldi's, it has a lot of options to shop, to do your groceries, compared to the suburbs like Bullard, for example, where I live. We only have a Brookshire's. So if you don't want to be grocery shopping at Brookshire's, where it's a little bit more expensive than somewhere like Walmart or Aldi, you don't want to have to drive the 20 minutes, the 15, 20, 30 minutes into town, depending on where you live in the suburbs, then live in Tyler, because it goes back to my first point. It is a lot more central and you just have more options of which stores to go to, and you don't have to be driving as much, especially if you're someone who maybe doesn't like driving too much. Then definitely live in Tyler, more central, more stores, more options available for you. The next point I'm going to say, it kind of plays in both camps, and it's going to be schools. Obviously, if you're moving to Tyler and you've already put your kids in a school, then it may be best to live by that school. If you're living in the Tyler school district, maybe you want to live in Tyler because that's where your kids go to school. Also, on the other side, if you've putting your kids in Bullard schools, Lindale schools, then it might be best to live in those suburbs, especially the Bullard schools, Lindale schools, Tyler schools, some of the best schools in East Texas and even in Texas in general. You may be moving here for the schools or the private schools, whatever. You may want to be living close to those schools where your kids are going. So that would be a reason to live in Tyler compared to live in suburbs, or live in the suburbs compared to live in Tyler. The last point I'm going to make about why you'd live in Tyler rather than the suburbs is jobs. There are a lot more jobs just because Tyler is a lot bigger than the suburbs. So if you found yourself a job in Tyler, you're going to be a lot closer to it. Living in Tyler, there's a lot more option. Now, this isn't saying that you can't live in a suburb and work in Tyler. That's what I do most of the time. Again, it comes down to all my points. They all kind of tie together. If you don't want to drive that far, if you just want to live conveniently close to your job, then it's probably best to live in Tyler just because it's more central, less driving, and there are just a lot more options in Tyler. Now let's move over to why you'd want to live in one of the suburbs compared to living in Tyler. The first I'm going to give you is it's a lot more of a country feel. Now Tyler, compared to other big cities like Dallas or Austin, that has a very country feel. But if you're living in one of the suburbs like Bullard or Lindale, Chandler, White House, it really does have a more country feel. It's just less densely populated at the moment, at least. I know a lot of people are moving to the area, but at the moment, it's more of a country feel. You drive around everywhere, you see the open fields, the ranches, the farms, and you just get more of a country feel than in Tyler, where it kind of feels like you're living in a city a little bit. It's just not as open. There's not as much space, not as much green pasture area than there is in the suburbs. And along with that, if you're wanting to buy a home with a little bit of land, and I'm talking with a little bit of land, I'm talking more than a couple of acres, because you can get that in Tyler. But if you're looking for a home with more than, say, 5 acres, then it is more likely that you're going to be able to get that in the suburbs. And that's because, like I said earlier, we're kind of expanding. You look at the middle of Tyler, and then it's going to be growing. And then, so you've got Bullard down south, and you have Lindale up north. It's going to be growing out kind of like a sphere. So in the areas of Bullard, there's a lot of land still available. In Lindale, you're going to have a lot of land still available. So because supply and demand, you have more land available in the suburbs, it is going to be cheaper in general, and you're going to find more of it to buy a home with land, or whether you want to buy the land and then build a home on it. If you're looking for 5, 10, 15, 20 acres, it's probably better that you're going to be living in the suburbs. Speaking about homes, if completely opposite of what I was talking about earlier, if you're looking for a more new build home, then you're probably more likely going to find a better deal in the suburbs, just because, like I was just saying, because that land's being developed, and Tyler is kind of pretty densely populated. The land around Tyler that are now the suburbs, that's where the developers are buying land, building new build homes, and you're going to have a bigger supply to pick from in the suburbs. That's where kind of all the big home builders are building. Out in Bullard, Lindale, Chandler, White House, Flint, they're all great places as well. So you're going to have a potentially better time finding a new build in one of the suburbs, but not so you can't find that in Tyler, but maybe in the next 5 years or so, there's going to be a lot less new builds in Tyler because all the land's taken up. So that's why I'd look in the suburbs if I were you and I was looking for a new build home. Now, this is a big point, is going to be lakes. If you're a lake person, if you want to live on the lake, want a lake house, anything like that, I'd suggest living in the suburbs, because the two main lakes we have in the Tyler area are Lake Palestine and you have Lake Tyler. Even though it's called Lake Tyler, you're mainly going to be living in White House. So it's the suburb, White House. So if you're looking at Lake Tyler, look at White House. And if you're going to be looking at Lake Palestine, you're going to be looking at mainly Chandler or Bullard. So they're the suburbs you're going to be looking at if you're going to be wanting to live real close or on the lake here in Tyler. And my last point with why you'd want to move to the suburbs is that just because it's less populated, and because of that, if you do not need to be going into Tyler that often, if you're going to be grocery shopping at Brookshire's, if you're going to be whatever you need to do in your little suburb, it's much better to live in that suburb compared to Tyler, because the traffic just isn't as bad, because there's a lot less people. The traffic is going to be a lot better, even at rush hour times. It's going to be a lot better driving around your little suburb compared to trying to drive in and out of Tyler. If you're that insulated and you can live in your suburb, then go ahead, live in the suburb. A lot less traffic, a lot less cars. If you don't like people, if you're not a people person, then live in the suburb, buy yourself a little bit of land, and just have a great time being an introvert. If you like people, if you somehow like traffic, then live in Tyler, but even the traffic, it's not too bad. So that's a little whistle-stop tour of why you maybe should live in Tyler or maybe should live in the suburbs. What do you think? Let me know in the comments, like always. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Sometimes a lot of people disagree, but that's okay. Thank you very much for making it to the end of the video. Please like the video if you did like the video, and until next time, cheerio.